Hey everyone, and welcome to the Dyl Pickle Movie Network. I am Dylan Randazzo, and I'm very excited to be continuing my coverage of New York Film Festival 62. Now, I know a lot of people were asking me, Dylan, where are your New York Film Fest reviews? It's been a while since you posted your last one. The festival's been over for a few weeks now, and I understand all that. The truth of the matter is, October is just a very busy month, from going from New York Film Festival to Twin Cities Film Festival, where my own movie that I was in was premiering, and then also on top of that, watching a spooky season movie every day of October for spooky season and Halloween. On top of that, my team was in the World Series, did not go well. On top of that, there was an election that I was very invested in that, again, did not go well. So there are a lot of things going on in my mind and my mental health right now that I needed some time to just regroup, get back to just clearing my mind, and now getting to talk about it in a brand new month, November. We're a third of the way through November. It's time to get back into these reviews. But the luxury is that a lot of these movies haven't come out yet, so you guys don't really know about them. Only a select few have seen these movies. So I did want to get back to these though, because part of my joy every year is going to the New York Film Festival and seeing all these movies before anyone else, to then recommend them to everyone else and to get you excited for movies that you will be seeing on streaming and in theaters coming soon. And a film you will be seeing on streaming on Disney Plus very soon is a documentary called Elton John, Never Too Late. This is a new documentary by R.J. Cutler and David Furnish. And this review is going to be kind of brief and to the point, because I feel like this documentary is very brief and to the point. I mean, it is a documentary about Elton John's career. And I feel like Elton John is a musician that his life is very well documented. You know, all his struggles, all his high points and lows are very well documented, not just in other documentaries, but in books and just in interviews. And of course, in a very own biopic that he had released about himself that Taron Egerton starred in. It's a great film, Rocket Man. But that's the thing, is like, I feel like a lot of Elton John's journey to becoming the musician he is, and a lot of his struggles with addiction, substance abuse, and then also his sexuality, I feel like that has all been very well documented in a plethora of other places. And I feel like that's one thing that I feel like if you are not an Elton John fan, or you don't know a lot about Elton John's story, you haven't seen all those other documentaries and movies and read those books and just heard about Elton John, I think this could be a really enlightening documentary for you, because this does chronicle a lot of his career up to that point, where he became this massive superstar. And I think if you have kind of been exposed to all this other stuff about Elton John, you know, this information is not going to be anything new to you. And I felt like that was where I was kind of at a disconnect with this film. You know, it is very engaging because Elton John himself is a very engaging person, but I feel like all the different like revelations about his sexuality and his alcoholism and drug use and all just these big moments are things I already knew were coming. Now, what I do like about this documentary is that it kind of goes beyond that. It kind of goes into like this COVID era where he started a podcast, this outreach toward younger musicians, and kind of propping up other up and coming musicians and platforming them. And also, you know, this big kind of farewell concert at Dodger Stadium, this big farewell tour, this Goodbye Yellow Brick Road tour. So I do think that stuff in the movie is the best stuff in the movie. You know, kind of watching him nowadays in the present day, reflecting on his past and kind of just reflecting on his career and what he wants to leave as his legacy. And, you know, this idea of not necessarily mortality, but just the idea that, you know, you're at the end of your big career, and what do you want to leave behind versus what do you want to go forward with your life? Like, how do you want to spend the rest of your life? And in his case, it's, you know, with his husband and his kids, and, you know, being this influence to so many people, not just as a queer icon and a queer inspiration, but just as a musician who has inspired so many people, including myself, as someone who, you know, my instrument was a piano growing up. You know, I love the piano. I love to sing. I modeled a lot of my own, you know, journey as a pianist, as a singer, after like Billy Joel and Elton John, these icons I looked up to from that sense. So he has had such a profound influence on so many people. And it's very evident to see, especially at this screening when the movie ended and he came out on stage and everyone just, you know, uproarious applause. You know, it was just a massive, it almost felt like you were at a concert. He did actually perform a song. He got to perform Tiny Dancer for us, and it was just such a magical moment. And I think that's the thing with like a documentary like this. Yes, it may offer very little new information. I actually think there's a whole segment with like John Lennon that I did not know that was really, really fascinating. Actually, I think it was John Lennon's last live performance was with Elton John in Madison Square Garden shortly before he was assassinated. But that stuff was really cool. But a lot of the background stuff is stuff you've already known. But if you are just a fan of Elton John and you love his music and you love his style, there's just still something so comforting about it, because you're just getting to relive kind of the glory days. There's a lot of footage that you've never seen, even if the information's the same. There's just a lot of great like B-roll that you may not have been exposed to because these documentarians found all this footage and were like, oh, let's make another documentary about him. But I do think, there are other musicians whose stories are not told that I would love to see musician documentaries of. I feel like Elton John at this point has now had every single angle of his career examined from past to present and now to future, kind of looking at this documentary as kind of a means to showing what he is going to do now with the rest of his life. But yeah, just seeing him perform for the crowd, I actually want to include the performance here for you. So really quickly, this is a snippet of his Tiny Dancer concert.
Blue jean baby, LA lady, seems to folk band, pretty pirate smile, you marrying you that man, Baba Rita, you must have just seen her. With me, China dance in my hand. Jesus freaks out on the street. Heaven took us out for God. Turning back, she just laughs. The boulevard is not that bad. Head up my hand, it makes a stand in the auditorium, looking on. She sings a song, the words she knows, the tune she hums. Oh, how it really feels lying here with no one there, only you, and you can hear me when I say it softly, slowly. All the clocks are time to dance, and count the headlights on the highway, laying down in the sheets of linen. You had a busy day today.
So yeah, it was just a magical moment, a magical film festival moment, just getting to watch a film about a person, have him come on stage and just like perform one of his greatest hits for you. Again, I think I will remember the moment and the actual iconic nature of being there and being in that room. Because admittedly, this is probably the last time I'll hear Elton John perform live because he's not touring anymore. He's retired, unless I go to a specific event where he is performing like this one. This might be the last time I get to see Elton John perform live. And I was very grateful enough and privileged enough to go to his concert when I was younger. His first Goodbye Yellow Brick Road tour before his actual Goodbye Yellow Brick Road tour, his farewell tour. I believe they were both called that because I think both times he was going to retire and then didn't. So who's to say? He might come out of retirement yet again. He's still cranking out new hits. He actually wrote a song, Never Too Late, for this film.
Was never too late to go shoot out the moon.
Not to be confused with his other song, Never Too Late, that was used for the movie The Lion King, the remake in 2019.
Never too late to turn things around.
But regardless, like, he is still cranking out hits after hits. So I would not be surprised if we see a few more songs or a few more moments with Elton John, but his mainstream touring career is finished. So this is just a cool kind of like cherry on top of the sundae for Elton John. If you are a fan, I think you're going to enjoy this when it comes to Disney Plus. Do I necessarily think you have to like rush to your TV or rush to your laptop and watch it? Like, probably not, but it is very good for what it is. And I think that's just kind of what you expect from a movie like this. If you love Elton John and you know his story, but you just want to get a little bit more of a flavor, kind of see what he's up to now, then this is going to be a fun time. Otherwise, if you want just the full picture of who Elton John is and his like ethos and his just whole persona and his struggles, I do think Rocket Man is just a more cool, interesting, inventive way to do so. But again, you can never have too much Elton John. And I think that's the point of this whole review, is saying that yes, we've seen it all before, but it's not something we don't want to see. It's very insightful, very informative, very inspirational at times. So that's my review, my very brief review for Elton John, Never Too Late. But if you've checked this one out, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments below. And I promise very soon you'll be getting all the rest of my New York Film Fest 62 coverage. I am back. I am ready to go. I have a haircut. I shaved my beard. Everything is going well here. And I cannot wait to share more thoughts on all the movies I saw at New York Film Festival, including the next review, which I'm going to post, which is also a music documentary kind of. You'll hear what I mean when I get to that review. But Pavements, the new Alex Ross Perry movie. Now that's a movie about a band that absolutely needs their story told. So I do think, that's going to be a cool double feature for some, watching this and then watching something like Pavements. But you're going to get some music reviews coming up very soon. But thank you guys so much for watching this review. Please comment, please subscribe, do all that stuff. I promise I will be more timely with all my reviews going forward in the next week or two. And then we will finally get to my ranking, where I will rank all the films I saw at New York Film Fest. That is coming. I promise it will be here by Thanksgiving. That's my deadline I'm giving myself. So there you go. And of course, because it is the Thanksgiving holiday coming up, I do want to be very candid and thank you all for your patience and just for being supportive of this channel and being supportive of me, and supportive of cinema and being great cinema fans, having great engagements of conversation. And that is where I will end now before I get too sappy. But thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more New York Film Fest 62 coverage. Thanks, guys.